So I think I actually started. There we go. So hi, everybody. Happy Friday, or unless you're in another part of the world, and then maybe you're ahead of us already, but Friday otherwise, and glad you're with us. And this is OneNote Wonders. So we're going to talk about how to use OneNote in your classroom. And so it will be interesting to see who's already used it. In fact, if you'll put, since there are not that many of us, just put in the chat, either put yes or no or a little. So I don't know if you've used it, and I would say yes or a no or a little. Why, and, or a little. And then I'll know where we are as far as how many of you. So Nia, a little, Bill, no, Krista, no, Laura, a little, Veronica, never, Becca, a little. All righty, so we can kind of see we're all kind of beginners, which I assume, and that's great, because I'm going to show you some of the things of OneNote that really make it awesome, and I'll talk about the power of using it within the structure of Teams and Class Notebook, but we're really focusing today on OneNote, and there's another beginner. Okay, so we're all beginners. So for those of us who are in all different parts of the world, I'm Julene, I'm in Memphis, and glad you're here with us today as part of the Global EdTech Academy with Q and Microsoft. Super excited to have you. These have been wonderful workshops and seminars that we've been doing with educators all over the world. It's super fun. And you can always look at the schedule. I know there are 3 of us scheduled at the same time today, which is kind of crazy. That usually doesn't happen. But if you miss it, if you go back to the website, they'll direct you to recordings on the YouTube channel, and you can catch up with any of them. So any of the recordings you missed, I think I wish I knew more about this, you can either listen to one of my previous ones or see what someone else has to say about the same topic and learn that way. And I'm going to show you, yeah, I thought so. When she says it's midnight there, I was guessing it certainly wasn't. Yeah, that's why I said or tomorrow, because I knew where you were today. So I assumed that was true because she's in India. So I assumed you were way ahead of us there. So she's already on her weekend, pretty much. Yeah, for sure. We're still working over here. And so I'm in Memphis. I've been in education over 25 years. Some of you have heard this before. I've been in elementary school for 10 years and middle school, high school, 17 years. And now I've been full-time consulting 3 years. And I'm an adjunct professor with grad students working on the principal certifications and other master students. And so I've covered the whole realm of, grade levels from the lowest to the very highest in grad school. And it's given me a great breadth of experience. It's easy. That's really good for me to draw from as I'm instructing teachers from all different backgrounds. And I work with Microsoft. I also work with organizations besides Microsoft. But there are things in Microsoft I love, and OneNote is one of them. The other 2 that you've heard me talk about probably is Class Notebook and the power of Teams and Class Notebook. And the 3rd one is Immersive Reader, which I think is awesome, especially if you're teaching any ESL students or ELL students, other languages, English is a second language, or if they're learning English or something like that. So depending on your situation, there are different parts of this that are going to be really awesome. And so I want to show you, although some of you have seen this, kind of how to organize your screen today. So I'm going to pull this over. Yes, I love the Immersive Reader. So I'm going to pull this window over, and I'm going to go share my whole desktop again. Let me see what I had here for another. Just want to go to the next slide and see. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. So that's kind of our agenda today, but let me share my whole desktop because I want to show you something. Because you maybe want to be working with me today. And if you haven't been with me to more where you before, where we've worked together, this is how I suggest we do it. So this is my screen right here with the presentation that I'm previewing and sharing with you. And then this is the grid view, the new one that we're playing with today, that and the together view, which if you're still doing it, bless you, I couldn't do it any longer. So anyway, I have to get used to it. It may be really cool when you have your kids there. It was just kind of different today. So this is the other view. And what I recommend when you're working today, if you want to work with me, have this one open on half your screen if you don't have 2 monitors. And then on the other half, it gets your browser open so you're ready to move with us. So we'll want to go to your browser. Let me see where mine is. I have too many things on here because let me just get where I can see my browser. And I think it's down here, but it's being a little tricky here. There it is. Let me get up where I can grab it. So I want to put my Teams window where we're meeting on one side. And a lot of you have the snap to grid where it'll snap together like that and be half and half. And then you'll want your window with your access to your OneDrive and things in a browser on the other side. So you'll just want to resize them so you can see both at the same time like that. And that way, when I'm working, you can see my screen and be able to see what I'm working on without having to see a postage stamp of it. The other thing of it is if you hover over, and they've changed some of this, so it's really interesting. Yeah. So see how I hovered over Nia and I can pin her so that she will be bigger. And I can do that. You will want to do that too with my presentation. So whatever you're doing, you want to be able to see the screen that I'm presenting, because that will make it easier for you when you're following along with your own OneDrive and your own OneNote. And then you can be playing at the same time. So let me go back to the PowerPoint really quickly and get there. If I could find it again where I just hit it because I was hiding everything. There we go. There it is. So what is OneNote? And so OneNote, if you think about OneNote, it's like a 3-ring binder notebook. Remember when you had a Trapper Keeper in school, or you had those 3-ring binder notebooks, and you may still have some, and then you open those metal things in the middle, those 3 rings, they always got bent and then they never worked right, or you pinched your finger when you closed it again. You remember how that happened? And so that's a OneNote, only it's digital. So we have the notebook or the Trapper Keeper, and then remember inside of that you had those cards, those dividers, those cardstock kind of dividers that had colored tabs, and those were our tabs or our dividers. In OneNote, that's called a section. So you put sections in, and just think of your 3-ring binder. You had your sections with the colored tabs, and then you put papers behind each section, and those are your pages. So it's a digital 3-ring binder, a digital notebook. And what's so awesome is you can put all kinds of media in it. So it can be very media rich. And you can collaborate in it, and you can use this within Teams and Class Notebook. You can be doing this where all your kids are coming in together in their notebooks that you've created for them, and you have access to their notebooks. And so we're going to make a OneNote today. We're going to kind of work on setting yours up, putting some things in the OneNote. We're going to talk about the different versions of OneNote. And then just kind of play with what is the ribbon? That's the menu across the top. What does the ribbon look like? What are different things that it can do? It can record audio. It can embed videos. It can, you can do all kinds of things in here and share them. And then we're going to also look at resources. So in the big picture, if you're new to Microsoft, what your organization is, whether it's a school or a district or whatever, has what we call a tenant. And that's like their agreement with Microsoft, and within that tenant, they have SharePoint, and that's their big drive space where everything lives on the big global part of it. And then for each user, you have OneDrive. So each one of us has our own personal OneDrive that lives in the tenant. So whenever you hear tenant, that just means the Microsoft structure for your organization. And so we have our OneDrives, and in OneDrive, we have all these Office 365 apps, all these Office apps. And when you're working with your kids, and probably I suggest it for you too, always have the kids start in the cloud. Have them start in Office 365. That way, everything's accessible from any device at any time, no matter where you are. You just log in, all your work's there. And you can always open it in the desktop app, and then they'll instantly start syncing. So if you open the desktop app because you're going to be traveling and you want to have consistent connectivity with Wi-Fi, you open the desktop app. Next time you connect, it's going to sync with the cloud, and you'll be on this. You'll both have the same thing in it. So I want you to know that big picture. And for all the Microsoft apps, there's usually a desktop app version and a cloud version. They're not all the same. Microsoft's goal is that either experience will be exactly the same, yes, and it's not. So often, some things are only accessible in the cloud version. You'll go, where is it? I don't see it, and I know it has it. And always think, oh, maybe it's in the cloud. Or if opposite, if you're in the cloud and thinking, I know I can do this, but it's not in the menus, think, oops, I need to try the desktop version. And it's easy to toggle back and forth. The same is true for OneNote, only it gets even more confusing, which is crazy, because there's actually 3. There's the OneNote app on your Windows desktop, and there's OneNote for Windows. So there's two versions there. They're pretty similar. One just is more robust, and then you also have the cloud version. If you're on a Mac, same thing. So it just depends. Windows is a little different than Mac in the interface sometimes, and sometimes something's on the Windows version and not the Mac. And that's because what happens, just like any company, they roll out their own product support first. So it will be coming, and hopefully it'll all be the same. But OneNote really lets you streamline everything for education. And that's the power of Microsoft Teams and OneNote and Class Notebook. It really is streamlining things for you and streamlining things for your students. I will say, when you're new with OneNote, when you're new with Microsoft, I should say, not OneNote. When you're new with Microsoft, understanding that big picture and how pieces work together gets a little confusing until you get into it. And then you go, oh, now I get it. It's like we're giving you puzzle pieces and you think you know how to fit together, and then you find one doesn't match the way you think it would. So that will come, and it will be easy. It just, if you're transitioning over from Google or some other service like that, then it may take a little bit, but basically they have the same things. Each has something a little different, but pretty much they have the same thing. It's just done in a different way, called something differently, and accessed in a different way, and it will come. And so OneNote is one of the ones you'll want to learn and understand, because it is much more powerful than just having a Word document or something. You have the ability to do so much more. And then you can share these interactive media-rich files and things with your student, and in their class notebook. Veronica says you need to have, yes, you have to have a Microsoft account, either a tenant account or a personal one, to be able to get to OneNote. So it does need to have a Microsoft login. And so if your organization, Veronica, has a Microsoft login for you, then you use that for your education piece. If you have a personal one, you can use that. However, some things are really made just for organizational units. So you'll have to just kind of see, but yeah, you'll have to have that to be able to do it. And so moving on, just thinking about your classroom and everything that's been going on with the COVID-19 and coronavirus and everything that's happening in the world right now, we don't know how we're going to be working in our classrooms. And so for the one of you who's in Delhi, are you in the schools right now, or are you remote only? I'd be interested to see what India is doing right now. Just put in the chat or open your mic if you want to. It doesn't matter either way. But most of us, I think, we're in the States. If there's anybody else from another country, I kind of know what the states are doing in different states in the United States. But anyone else from another country, it'd be interesting to see what you're doing with education. And for those of you not here, trust me, every state is different in the United States. Every region is different. Every district is sometimes different. Every county, every city. So you have an in-school session. Okay. And that's lucky for you. And it would be really interesting to have you share with us at the end kind of what you're doing. It'd be nice to know. But we're going to stay focused for now, because I could get lost in that conversation real easily. But what we really, not knowing if we're going to be face-to-face in our schools, if we're going to be remote only, or if we're going to be a combination with half of us at home, half the students at home, and half of the students back in school. And then are they live while they're while half are at home? Are they live with us in the classroom, or are they doing independent work? Everybody has a different model, and it's changing daily. Just today, was it Chicago or Florida? I think it was Chicago that thought, I think from Chicago, that they are giving more, because it's increased, they're giving more freedom to how schools respond. Even President Trump's starting to give more freedom about whether they have to be in school on time. Even though at the beginning it was like everyone will be back in school. But the rules change every minute. They're changing all the time, because as COVID numbers in different areas change, different areas have different rules. So you may live in a rural city or town and you're okay. But if you live in a large city, or the southern part of Florida, or in Chicago or LA or Arizona, where the hotspots are, then maybe, you don't have that ability. So to be okay and be in person. And because of that, we just don't know. But whatever we're doing, it's preparing for blended learning and technology integration that you can use in either scenario. So it's all things that are good. And so just thinking about everything that Microsoft's doing in education. What they were 10, 15 years ago is not the same support they have for education now. They've really changed in the last 5 years or so. And so it's really an organization focused on helping educators and students and really building the streamlining effect. So are we in the cloud or the desktop? And we kind of talked about that. You can be in the cloud or you can be on the desktop, or either one. And there's 2 desktop apps. And so we're going to look at that, but we're going to explore now. So I'm going to show you some of those differences, and let me hide that. And this is where you'll get dizzy for a second. But I'm just going to go up here and make sure you know how to get here. Why does it say I'm 20 minutes overdue? I'm not overdue. All righty, so silly computer. Here we go. So this is Office 365. You might get to OneNote here, or I see Wendy and Jennifer having a conversation about how to get there. That's awesome. Thank you for supporting each other while I'm talking. And if you have questions, put them in the chat like that. I'm kind of watching, and I'll try to pause when it's appropriate. But when I have a break, that seems like a good pause point. But also feel free to open your mic and say, wait, Wendy has a question and she needs you to stop for a second. Or if you have something wonderful to share, like some tips or something, feel free to open your mic too. So we have here, this is what she was talking about with her grid or her application launcher in the chat that we saw a minute ago when they were resolving this. And right here, if you go there, there's your OneNote if you're logged in. It should be there. It's also in Office 365. So your OneNote is right here. You can, there's multiple ways to get to everything. And then when you open it, you will get probably, and maybe not, we'll see, because it can do it different ways. You might get a list of some of your notebooks. So this is some of the notebooks that I have, and it might actually open in a different way, but here would be where I would make a new notebook, which we're going to do in a minute. And then here I am in a notebook, and if I go to File here, I can see other things here. That's not what I wanted to do. That's why I kind of stumbled. So I will take you back and show you, but there's lots of notes here, and you'll be able to get to other notebooks through here as well. So when I look, this is the browser version that I'm in right now. What I want you to do is make a new notebook. You can do this from here. One other place, like I told you, there are lots of ways to get places. If I'm in my OneDrive, I can also go to New, and I can go right there from OneDrive, OneNote Notebook. So either way, and then that's immediately going to ask for my name for my notebook. If I'm over here and I say make a new notebook, it's also going to ask for my name. So we're just going to call this Friday G. I'm going to call mine Friday GETA. You can call yours whatever you want. Call it your name. Name it with your name, or name it with your class dash your name, what you teach, or however you want to do this today. This is just for fun to experiment and learn, but if it's something you can kind of start with and then come back and refine, that's awesome too. And then you can always get rid of it and hide it and delete it. It'll be gone. So we're just going to, since most of you are new, we're just going to kind of play with this. Will browser and app store support different notebooks, you mean? What do you mean by that? I'm trying to make sure I understand the chat question. Will they support them? Yeah, you can have multiple browser or apps. You can have multiple notebooks access this way. The only time it gets tricky is if you're in 2 different tenants. Like I have my personal one, and this is my Microsoft one, and they're 2 different tenants. And so sometimes it's hard to travel between them, but if you're in one place, then you should be able to get to both. And you can open the same notebook from both, yes, and I'm going to show you that. So if that was your question, Becca, thank you. So it doesn't matter if it's a notebook, and I have it here to show you that exact example. So I'm going to call this one Friday GETA. But let me stop for a second, because we're going to work in this one that we're just making. And this one's empty, but everybody should have a notebook now. And I'm going to stop for a second and show you this. So let me see if this is one. No, right here. So this notebook is in the cloud. And the reason I know it's in the cloud, Office 365, is because see my browser tabs? I know it's in the cloud because I have browser tabs across the top. That's a browser window in browser tabs. And I also have this version. And notice it's the exact same thing. It's the same exact thing, has the same graphics. If I update it in one place, it updates it everywhere. So there's that version. This is OneNote for Windows 10. And hold on, there's even one more hiding back here. Let me find it, because I had 3 open for you so you could see the difference. And this is where I think it's really confusing, and Microsoft needs to, they were going to get rid of one of the apps and they haven't yet. So this is the other one. So this is OneNote, the app. So you have OneNote in Windows 10, you have OneNote, and you have the browser version. And it's all crazy, but look, it's the exact same thing. It doesn't matter which one I'm in. And if you're on a Mac, you won't see all 3 of those. You would only see 2. And then if I'm on Windows, I will see 3. Like if I go down here and search for OneNote right now in my, whoops. What I'll see is, see here, I have OneNote app and I have OneNote for Windows 10. If you don't have a desktop version of it and you want the desktop version, most Microsoft licenses allow you to also install up to in education up to 5 licenses on other devices, a total of 5 licenses. But you need to make sure what kind of license your organization has. But many of those education licenses allow each user to have five installations of Office. That includes students. So that could be a home computer, your laptop, it could be your phone. It can be wherever you want. And you would just be in Office 365 here when you go to office.com, and now you can install the apps. So that's one really good way to do it. I think there's actually another way down in here. I can't remember. There used to be a way down in here too, but I know that works. There used to be a thing down here that tells you to do that. So we're going to go through and look at this one for a second, just to give you an idea of OneNote, what OneNote looks like. And then we're going to go on and create and work in yours a little bit. So these are the sections, and these are my tabs. Remember I told you there could be sections? And I could call this one's lesson examples, but I could rename this tab. That's like my tab in my little notebook with the different colors. I could call these quizzes. I can have all their quizzes here, or maybe this is a personal one and I'm doing like, I could give this I could do a new section by right clicking, or I can go to the bottom here where it says, see if I can get this to get bigger for you. Yay, it says plus section right here. That's how you add sections. So I could call this professional or PD notes, professional development notes from different, or faculty meeting notes. I can make this whatever I want it to be. It can be personal or it can be professional. So that's happening here. And the reason I wanted you to see it here, because I'll immediately take you over to these others. And on here, I can see all my different notebooks. But if I go back over here, I should start seeing some of the same things happening here, because I think I was in my Jita notebook when I did that. Let's make sure. Yeah, I'm in my Jita notebook with quizzes and PD notes and all of that. So over here, if I'm in my same notebook, I should see, and it may take a second to sync, but they should start populating right there. Because right now, if I'm in here and I click on this page and go down and just put hi. Now, if I come back over here, I should be able to go to that, whoops, wrong side. Go to that page. There it is. Now it's populating. See how it took us, there it is there. And I should be able to go here and there's hi. So no matter which one I'm working in now, all 3 of them should say hi. This one's taking a little bit longer to populate, but that's just the network, in here, because I've got 2 computers going. I've got a couple of kids in the other room using the bandwidth, but they will all populate. So that's kind of just to show you that. But now we're going to go back to your notebook, and we're actually going to create in your notebook for a little bit. And we're going to look at some of the things that are in here. So let me find the one we just made that was called Friday. This is my new one, and you can have your new one open right now. So I'm going to stop for questions, see if you others have any. Let's see what it says here, because we have a couple of questions, and I want to be cognizant of those and make sure I'm answering those in a timely way. So see, you can open it from both places. And it's easier if you start in the cloud and then sync down, but you can also start on your desktop and then share it up to the cloud. I always recommend starting the cloud. It's just easy because what you do when you're in the cloud, if you just go right here, it says open in the app. And when it says open in the app, then it's going to give me this note. And when if I want to open it in the app, and once it opens in the app and downloads it, then it's going to start syncing. So either way, and this is true in like PowerPoint, Word, everything, it'll say open in the app. And if you're, and then you can pick which way you want to open it. So this is our brand new notebook we made, and we're going to add sections. So let's think about what section you might want to make in here, and it's completely up to you. I think I'm going to pretend like I am a science teacher, and because I know what I have here. Okay, so I'm going to put ecosystem, lessons. I'm just going to divide this way just for fun. And you may end up doing this in a different location in class notebook when you're in teams, but I'm just doing this for now. I'm going to do another one that's called extreme weather. I always end up, some of you know, I always end up with weather and ecosystems and things like that. Let's see, animals at risk. So just make yourself a couple sections to play with, and then I have 3 here. And I can right click if you want to make your tabs a different color. You can pick the color, like I'm going to have a really pretty blue, and I'm going to have a really pretty magenta, because I'm feeling bright and cheery today, maybe. It's Friday, I should be. And then maybe a lemon. That's lemon? Really? That looks like lime to me. It sure looks like lime, but it's called lemon. So you can make these whatever colors you want. Those are your tabs, your sections. So now I have 3 sections. What I can do next now is I'm going to start up here with ecosystem lessons. And I see that I have 1 page here. I can keep, this is like putting the pages behind it, the 3-ring binder. We have our sections with the colored tabs. Now we're going to start putting the papers behind each section. And I could even have something on handouts, quizzes, whatever I think I need, lesson plans, whatever. But here's 1 page. Now to rename these, I had to right click. To rename these, I don't need to right click. I just go over here and I type the name of it. So we're going to call this Amazon Rainforest. And then if I want another page here, I could add another page and I could call this African Savanna. And this page could be tundra, whatever I want, whatever I'm studying. I would do the same thing here because this doesn't have any pages. Animals at risk doesn't have any pages, but ecosystem lessons does. So right now I have my lessons here. And when I'm working in a OneNote, it's a little different than it is in Word. And I just realized I didn't answer all your questions. I jumped for a second, so I'll be back in a second. But now I have sections and I have pages, and the way I name my sections is to right click. The way I name my pages is just to click up here and it will name it. And then I can have more sections and pages here. And I can even, I think, right click to add new sections too. So let me stop and answer these questions again. So yeah, so you can open the notebook from any of those places. You can open them at any of those places you want to open them in OneDrive, in your OneDrive notebooks, in the app, in the web, whatever. You can switch between notebooks. So lots of ways, and they sync. And they're all going to reside in the cloud, yes. As long as you have synced it once. I mean, if you just do it on your desktop and never share it to the cloud, it won't be in the cloud. But once you start sharing it from the desktop up, or like I said, the easiest way is to start in the cloud and then come down with the open in the app, it will always sync and they'll always live in the cloud. If you end up leaving an organization that houses your OneDrive, you end up losing all your files. Yes. So should you have them backed up in a personal account? Yes. And you can look for ways to do that because you can export sections and files and things and put them over to put them over in your personal account. And that happens. We all change schools, districts, countries, whatever. So, you don't have to worry about all the time, but when you're ready to get a shift, you're going to make the shift. And we walked through this with somebody yesterday. We just did a search and found the exact specific instructions. but you're just going to move it over. And you can easily share these things with your personal account too. So not hard. So you're seeing the plus page, but not plus section in your notebook. It's on the, so make sure you're going all the way down to the bottom left here.
Yeah, I actually found it.
Yay, awesome, good, yeah. That's all, I see your head slap, Laura, don't hurt yourself. So back to this now, but it's dynamic text. So which is nice is when you first start doing it, you're like, I don't know where this page starts. I'm clicking everywhere and cursors come up and I'm so confused. But that's really an awesome thing because it makes it easy to move things around and structure them that's best for you. So let's just all type a title in here for your, I'm going to type a, a to-do list just for fun. And I'm in the to-do list. I'm going to make a to-do list of what I need to do for getting ready for this. So I need to put my lessons in here. Let's say create my lessons. I need to create my quizzes. And let me go over here just for a second. I'm just going to mute a mic for us. Hold on. Come on. There we go. I think that did it. Okay. And then I'm just making some random things. I'm going to research updated news and resources, whatever, whatever I need to do. I can highlight these and things that are in your OneNote, you can tag them. And you can tag them in all kinds of ways. So you can look over here if you go to the right to tag after you've highlighted them. I'm going to make these to-do lists. So now, as I'm going, I created my lesson, it's done. I can check it off. So I can do that for myself, or my students could do that for themselves. So that's one thing I can do, but I can use tags in other ways. I can remember for later, start is important, all these different things. So tags are really helpful. And we're just going to go for a minute across the top here. I just thought of that real fast. I'm going to go across what we call the ribbon. It's like the menu's up here, the menu bar, sometimes you call it, but this is the ribbon in Microsoft Land. I'm going to make it bigger as long as I can lose things. Okay, I think I'm okay. Same thing you're used to in Word, just basic formatting and things. You have some heading styles. We saw the tags, spell checks. But right now, if you want to try this with me, find a new text box somewhere, and we're going to dictate. Now watch while I do it, because when I go to dictate, I can dictate in different languages. But I'm going to click my microphone, and it's going to start right away, but it may ask to access your microphone first. So if it does, say OK. So I'm already dictating because it already knows that I want to access my microphone. Now I just click to stop it, period. So there it goes. Come on, why aren't you working? Well, I thought it knew. You know what? Yesterday I didn't give a permission for something, and I wonder if it's held that. So let me try one more time. But go ahead and try it with yours. It works all the time. I don't know what's going on. I'm just trying to dictate to see if it works. If not, we'll go on the others and you can see it. Because that's, I think, it may be Julene and how she set something up. So let me go here. Let me just go to dictate on here and see what it does. Yep. Yep, we know that. So click it again. English and dictate. It is supposedly recording my audio right now, and I'm having my red dot show, and then when I click it, it stops. So I don't know why it didn't stop, do it before, but this is, I didn't pause at the beginning, and I didn't pause at the end. I should have. But it does a pretty good job of this. It's kind of like doing a text message from speech. And so you have to speak real clearly. You'll have to put your punctuation in. I didn't say period or anything because I was more concerned about whether it would work at all. But that's one thing you can do that students can do. They can dictate what they're going to say. So it has ability to do text to type with the speech. So you can do that. So wanted you to see that. Here's an example that I'll show you in a minute, the Amazon rainforest. So we'll come back to that. That was what I was working in. So I went on and took that out. You're not going to see it because I took it off. I didn't want to leave that there, but I want to get back to our browser version because that's probably where you are right now. and then we'll look at the others. So dictate's under home here. Now it's in other places too, but know that you may have to find it in a different location. It may not be under home. And so now I can go to insert, and I have the ability to insert sections in here, but I don't really want to do a section or page here, but that's just my notebook sections and pages. I can insert a picture. I can upload one, I can take one, but online pictures are great because with you and your students, you don't have to go outside of OneNote to search for something. So I can type in Amazon rainforest, and these are Creative Commons, which means they have good, they're able to be used or licensed for use for education and different ways that they're used, but not commercially. So I've just put an image in there. So quickly I was able to put an image in there. Wait for it, and here it comes. And now I can resize that image if I want to, so I can make it media rich with an image. And when you're working with students in Class Notebook, you will be able to do something like this. And then when you've created your lesson, if you're really going to make a lesson for them, you can create a lesson for them and push it out to them. And that's the beauty of Class Notebook, which is like a OneNote notebook on steroids. And so when you have Class Notebook, you can distribute pages, you can distribute sections, you'll make the students notebooks, and you can scroll through them and leave comments and auditory feedback and all kinds of things. And you can grade from there. So Class Notebook is really powerful. All right, so that's one way we can use it. And what is the difference? And you might be asking between a file printout and a file attachment. So a file printout is going to, a file attachment is just going to be a link to the attachment. A printout is going to put the whole thing there. So I'm actually going to go to animals at risk because I have one on tree frogs, and I'm not even sure they're at risk. I just put that there. And here, if I go to file printout and I choose a file, I can choose either the tree frog PDF, but I'm actually going to choose the image. And there's a reason I'm choosing the image, because you can convert a PDF to an image. And so this is a PDF originally, but I'm going to insert the image. Oh, it has to be a PDF. Now that's just crazy. Okay, well, never mind. We'll just, because there's a reason, there was a method to my madness there. So let me just go on and do, you know what, hold it. Let me do the file printout, and then I'm going to show you what to do with the image. I know what the difference is. So I'm going to do the file printout of a PDF, and here's Tree Frog PDF, and then you'll see the difference. Now I insert it. So it has to be Word or PDF. So here it comes. That's the document I could give my kids. And so they could actually use their digital inking with either their pen, the drawing or text tool, with either a pen, a stylus, or the trackpad, or even I've seen them do great things with a mouse or a trackpad. So however they can answer right here, and you don't have to print it out and distribute it. So the other thing I do, I'm going to take that away. Let's see if I can just Control Z and undo it. Yeah. So if I insert it as a picture, there's another trick here. It's like, why is it not working? And then I went, well, yeah. So this is the picture. It's the same file converted to an image, and I insert it. And what's good about the picture, if they're going to be doing homework here, I can stretch it out. And what I'm going to do is right click on it. Okay, it's not going to do it again today. We did this yesterday and we had trouble with it. But if it's an image, and maybe it has to be a ping. If it's an image, you can set it as a background for your page. And when you set it as a background for your page, then when they're drawing it, like if they were going to come up here and draw a picture of the tree frog, I don't think I can draw one. It won't move around. It doesn't look like it's going to move around anyway. Oh my gosh, what am I drawing? Just anyway, you get the idea. I thought I could do it, and I didn't. So you can insert it there. So you notice I jumped over to draw, and we'll just follow it here in the draw tab. You can draw right here. So I can go right back to ecosystems. I could highlight this text if I wanted to. And so I could say, I'm going to highlight this as yellow. That's the text I want to make sure I will go back and do. I could have also done that with a tag, but I don't have to. I can draw and point to things here, look at that and label it. I can do lots of different things, lots of different colors, lots of different sizes of lines. And this is a complete aside, which has nothing to do with what we're talking about. But if I did something like 5 plus 3, whoops, hold on, not doing so well with this, 3 equals X. And then if I take my marquee select and I go around, I select that text and I hit math, it's going to convert it to math. And so this is telling me it's going to do ink to math. There it is. I can fix it. I can also have it solve for X if I want to. So I'm going to ink it to math. There it is. And then I can solve for X. And it tells me what X is. And I can create a practice quiz or whatever. So the drawing tool is really powerful, and it's a little different, like I said, whatever version of OneNote you're opening up. It becomes a little different. So let's go back up here. We looked at insert. I think, oh, this is one more that you will love. Now I'm going to record audio, and you know, it didn't do so well with dictate. I may have to go to the desktop, but let's try it. Now it's going to start right away when I click, and it's going to start recording, and then I'll get a different little dialog box that pops up at the top of the window that says, you know, stop, pause, whatever, and then play. So here I go. It should be recording me right now. I could talk about how I obtained the equation 5 plus 3 equals X and how I solved it, or I could talk about the rainforest, whatever. So here's my stop. I was setting for my stop. So it takes a little bit to process. There it is. And now when I move this, I think it was embedded in there. I should have clicked somewhere else, but either way, download a copy. Usually it'll just let me go on and play it. I don't know why it's not playing it for me. So probably because I'm in the cloud, but it would go on and play it. I don't know what's going on. I'm being a little stubborn today. Testing 1, 2, 3, and we're going to stop. And see, it's not letting me play it there either. I think that's what was going on with my OneNote, because it should play right there. Oops, here we go. There we go. Allow. All right, fine, whatever. But we'll go look. Let's go look at my desktop version and see what happened there, because it might be right there. And we're in a different notebook. Yeah, we're not there. So let me do this. We'll go look at it. We'll go open an app, and you'll see the process. Open it. And I had to switch from my other notebook I had going on, and here it comes. So it takes just a second when I bring it down, because I hadn't brought this one down yet. So it's coming down to the desktop. It's loading everything there. And I just want to see if it's going to play our audio files here, because it should play it right in line. It shouldn't be doing what it's doing. So here we go. Yeah, so now it's playing just fine. And so now it's playing just fine. I don't know why it was being stubborn. You probably couldn't hear it, but it was playing fine. And so if I want to go back to the cloud, I just go try launching Microsoft OneNote again. Oops, I didn't want to do that. I want to resume editing here. Here we go. And so I'm going to see if it changed. Play. Now it's playing in the cloud. That's interesting, because now it's playing in the cloud. So who knows what happened with that glitch, but it's working now. So good. So I'm going to close out the math. And so we've done that. We've done the record and playback of audio. We did draw. We looked at draw and the different options there, which I've seen amazing like science experiments being documented, like in their OneNote notebook, where they draw it out and then explain, and they can use their audio recording. So think about students describing their work, having metacognition and reflection on their work. Think about those learning new languages, that they can practice their language and you can watch their improvement through the year. If you had it in class notebook, think about you giving instructions to students or feedback through audio on their work. All those would be done through class notebook. So then that's how you want to do it. I'm going to stop for a second because I see a couple of questions. I had the same problem in the browser version that says that background discovery was only available in the app. Thank you, Jacqueline. It's making me crazy, so thank you. So she solved that. Remember I told you to always think that, and I didn't, did I? That was silly of me. So good. I like how you're learning and teaching me. Awesome. Can it be important? If I create a OneNote, yeah, and this is it. If you create a notebook in OneNote, can be imported into class notebook. It's not a great way to do it. You can, a lot of teachers keep it separate like this and then import sections. You can move sections, or you can move It's not there, but I have to be in the desktop. Well, there I can move a page. I can move or copy a page there. And let's look at the desktop, what it lets us do. Because here, you can also move or copy a section in the desktop. And so you can move it over. And some teachers prefer to do it that way. So you can do it that way. Or you can create everything and have it already in the class notebook. And then after this other question too, so you can't do the whole notebook, but you can do a section or a page. And let's see, the next one was about fixing my mistake. And then here it tells you how to move using, good, thank you, Becca. And then if you put in the homework to OneNote and you show the students they need to make a copy of it, it does automatically create a new copy. So when you're in Teams, and we'll look at this maybe at the end just for a minute. We only have like 10 minutes left, but at the end I'll show it to you. Because when you're in Teams, you have the ability to make a class notebook, and that gives a notebook to all your students. You just set their sections, you push it out, and then you can push out that page to them, distribute a page. And the cool thing is you can distribute to all the students or a group of students or an individual student, so you can differentiate there and personalize, which is awesome. And there's a lot of changes coming to Teams, FYI. So right now you can use channels to have groups, but they're actually having breakout groups come soon. So all these things are being pushed out to different tenants right now. So you can do it that way, or you can do it in Teams. The one caveat I'll tell you, the one warning is always, 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 if you're going to make these for your kids, always start in Teams and create your class notebook in Teams, because it's a one-way street. You'll see class notebook, you'll see it in your OneDrive. But you can't go make a class notebook and say, oh, I wish I had Teams, because all my team meetings can be here. We can do all our distance learning through here. And you can't go backwards up that street. It's one way. So always start in Teams and then go down to make your class notebook. And then, and Becca may have something more that I don't know, because she's typing and she's doing really well with answering questions and helping us. So, but that way you don't have to use the Teams if you want to. Oh, sister's saying, Wendy's saying that, yeah. You don't have to use the Teams if you don't want to, but you can't go backwards and get it later. And that's how you want to be having your virtual meetings. If you're going to have team meetings, you need to be having your kids in Teams. You can assign to all students if you're in class notebook, right? Exactly. So if you're in the content library, exactly, Becca, good job. And Becca's exactly right. So Teams is not part, is the Microsoft of Google Classroom. I would say yes. So if you think Google Classroom, you're going to use Teams, and you're going to use assignments. It's just like doing the assignments in Google Classroom. It's almost the same. And then if you're going to do, so you have assignments, and then you have the OneNote, the class notebook. And this is where, when Becca says it's so much more, now you can distribute work to kids. You can distribute a whole section at a time as you're teaching that. You can distribute a few pages at a time. So there's lots of ways to use Teams. So just know that, and that you'll want to start in Teams and do class notebooks. So Wendy, they should be training you if you're going to be switching to Teams. Someone needs to be giving you guys this training. Luckily, we have lots of that free training available, and they can watch the recordings as well. So that's good. All right, so let's finish up here because we're getting 7 minutes away and I don't want to keep you late. So we've looked at, I'm going to go back in here to the browser version one more time. If I had a YouTube video and I wanted to put it in here, it doesn't have an insert video. This is one I had up the other day with Shakespeare, which has nothing to do with our topic, but this will be fast. And where is it? Here we go. I would just get my link, copy the link, go to the OneNote where we're working. Which one am I in? This one. And this is, we'll just put it down here. We don't know why we're putting it here, but we just are. And if I copy it, it should embed it automatically. Yay, something worked like it's supposed to. So I don't have to insert the video. I just put the YouTube there. And then my video's in there. So this is the power of OneNote. And like she says, you may have loved Google, and I train on both. I train every day. Like one day I'm doing one and one day I'm doing the other. So I get it. They're very similar. They each have like, oh, this part of this one is good. This part of this one's good. So you get, yeah, exactly, Becca, good point. So you get, benefits of some things in one and in the other. you get something else. But the pieces that I think differentiate the most for Microsoft's Teams and Microsoft Education are Teams, Class Notebook, and Immersive Reader, which we haven't looked at yet. So let's just go on here quickly because we're about out of time. So we're in view. Oh, this is what we're getting ready to anyway. So we did the draw. So we're going to go to view now. And I'm going to show you Immersive Reader. So let me go find something that had some text on it, or I'll just write some text. Let me just write some text down here. Africa has a wide range of ecosystems. However, overall, I'm just going to make it short. Overall, it is a savanna. It is a beautiful place to visit. All right, it's just something quick. And you can type some text there for you or paste them in. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to have my cursor here, and I'm going to ask it to use Immersive Reader. And what it's going to do, it's going to open it up. And I can change the color. Right now it's white on black. And watch when and you probably can't hear it. I wish you could, but I don't know that you will. Because when I click, it's going to read it to me. But what I can do is go to this little speaker down here, and I can slow it down, speed it up. I can make it a female or a male speaking to me. And then this top right, these are part of the learning tools. If you don't have learning tools and you're not seeing it, it's a free download. Look for learning tools online, download learning tools by Microsoft, download it, and then you'll have this. And this shows up in almost all Microsoft products now, and even in Flipgrid. So here, if I click the A, I can change fonts. And these fonts are for dyslexia. They've been shown to be some of the best ones for dyslexia. And so they're to support students that have visual problems. I can pick my colors. Which color do I want it to be? That's to help with visual issues as well. I can increase spacing or decrease it. I can go to the middle one, and now I can do syllabication. I can also do parts of speech. There's your nouns. I can also, at the book, I can do line focus. So someone having problems reading, I can have them go through a little bit at a time, or I can turn that off. For English language learners or young children, I can also put, I don't know if I have a good word here. If I click on ecosystems, it's going to pronounce it. I also had it in Spanish a while ago, so it's going to give me to in Spanish, and I'll show you this as well. Let me put in just a word or two that's an animal. Let me just put in lions. I just want to use what it does for a picture dictionary too. Lions, tigers, and bears. Not that they're in Africa, but here we go. Now if we go back to Immersive Reader, and I'm over here at this right, and I click on lions. Oh, you know what? I bet I don't have it on. Turn picture dictionary on. That makes the difference. Now, lions. There's lions, tigers, bears. Good for early readers. Good for English language learners. So not everything's going to have one. Oh, Beautiful has one. You just have to kind of see that's a place. And the last thing here that's awesome, especially if you're dealing with other languages, is you can translate it to other languages. So I can translate this to, let's translate to Hindi. Now don't laugh at us, because what I have to tell you is any world language teacher will tell you it's not perfect. So there would be in that. If I want to go to something that we're a little more familiar with in the States, it would be Spanish. And I can translate the whole document. And now it'll read it to me in Spanish. And I can see it in Spanish, or I can go back to the original and compare it. So that's Immersive Reader, and we're almost finished here. Lots of other things like show authors and page versions, page colors. And in some of the desktop versions, you can input grids for math and have like a grid, like graph paper, or you can have notebook paper of all different sizes. So lots of ways to use that. And if I look back at the app for a second, there is in one of the two apps, you can record some video. So it depends on if you're in, like I said, Windows 10 or the other one. If you stay afterwards, I will show you, yes, you can use, well, Microsoft Translate is, and Immersive Reader kind of is a version of Microsoft Translate. So it's a little different, yeah. Can you put a hyperlink to a OneNote page or section in a PowerPoint or Word document? That's a good question. You can get a link. Excuse me a second. There we go. So if I copy that link, we can put it in my PowerPoint in a minute and see if it works. And I'll show you that. For those of you who want to stay, I'll show you the other thing where you can get the teams. Alrighty, so I'm going to go back just because I want to keep some of you on time, and I'll stay with you for a couple of minutes afterwards for those who have questions about Teams. And what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to close this, and I'm going to go back to, again, getting my PowerPoint open so that you can see that. Let me see if I can get my team to go where it needs to go. Come on, team. And that's this one. And up on my PowerPoint to finish, so you can see where you can get the slides and those things. Where did it go? If it's this one, let me find my PowerPoint here, make sure it's up and going. There it is. It says let's explore now. Let's see if it's this one. I had like 3 open, so I'll make sure I'm seeing the right one. Hold it, it's coming. Wait for it. No, that's not it. Oh, you know what? That's not the right one. It is, but it's not. So you know what I'm going to do? I can just click through it. It'll get there fast because we didn't look at that many slides. It'll probably be faster than me going back and changing it. So here we are. That's where we were. So ideas and examples are here. Look at these. These are fabulous. Make sure you go look at this first link because this one has the life cycle of the tree frog and some of those things. Has amazing projects you can look at that were done by real teachers in real classrooms, and you can see how they've organized that. And then I've given you some resources, so you can click here to learn more. You can also, oh, that took me to the slide, which I didn't want to do. Look at the Microsoft Educator community. It has lots of courses and information there. That's the link for that. And then I've given you a few more resources here as well. And so it's really about enabling the right environment for our students and for the best learning outcomes and making it streamlined. I'll stay after for questions, but for those of you who need to leave, I wanted you to have this resource because this is where, and I think I already have this one up here. I'm missing one from yesterday I need to put up here, but this is my OneDrive where you can look at all the slides. So Becca, I just put them there for you. And so it should just be, I'll give you a link down here. HTT, it should take you right there. Let me make sure before I go, but yeah, I did, didn't I? I was psychic. bit.ly.com/Q-slide. Sometimes I leave the, if it doesn't work, I leave that. Oh, this one's okay. Sometimes they're written different ways. So let me see what happens when I go there. Yep, so let me show you when you're there, and let me just share my whole desktop again. Let me show one more thing before I share my desktop. Don't forget to go look at other sessions or find a recording. There's my email. I can put that in there for you as well. But let me just show my desktop because I want to show you that when I'm in the chat and I clicked on this hyperlink, it takes me to my OneDrive, and this is where all my presentation PDFs are since we've been doing this for the last couple months. So if you find one you like, you would just click on it and you go to the top and download it. And then you'll have that PDF of that presentation too. So I want you to see that. I'm going to stop the recording now. I want to thank everybody who came in. If you have to leave, thank you so much for being here. And I'm just going to quickly show you what you asked about in the Teams. And I'm also giving you my email address in the chat in case you want to email for anything. I've sent it right there for you. And let me see, you're so welcome, Becca. Thanks for answering questions with us. And thank you for all. Thank you, Bill. Thanks all of you for coming. Let me just get my, it was worth for staying awake at midnight. I'm glad. I would hate for you to be awake at midnight and then not have it be any good. So yeah, I'm glad for that. I'm going to stop recording and I'm just going to show you quickly. And